Well, here in our part of Texas, we've dried out a bit, and you can see that we're back to summer-like conditions, blue skies, and lots of cumulus. And it'll probably be that way for a couple months at least. Across the southwestern U.S., here's the picture. We've got the heat low over Arizona, and things have dried out in some areas. You can see Phoenix has dropped off to 49, Tucson at 48, but still hanging on at 60 around the Lake Havasu area. So the monsoon is backing off a little bit. Maybe we're seeing it heading more into the Four Corners area, but we'll check that out shortly. Out in California, we've got the heat low extending into the San Joaquin Valley there. And I got a message from Ron Chalfant out there in Crestline, California, in the mountains north of Los Angeles. This time of year, it does tend to be dry, but occasionally they will get an influx of moisture from the east. So we don't have the polar orbiter scans of that area yet. But yesterday, there's how it looked like. You can see the Los Angeles area right there, Ontario, Riverside out to the east, and the Van Nuys, Burbank area just across up to the northwest. So let's take a look at the Los Angeles area. There's LA. Ron is going to be in the mountains right there north of San Bernardino, Riverside. And out in the ocean area, that's the marine layer. Tends to be very cloudy this time of year. Got the cold upwelling and layers of stratocumulus lurking offshore. A lot of times in the summer, those clouds will surge inland when we get strong heating in the deserts. However, with that moisture lurking off to the east and dew points coming up to 42 at Palm Springs, that could bring a little bit of moisture into the mountainous areas north of LA. Not enough to get any thunderstorms going, but there we can see the moisture working its way northwest into the Palm Springs area, but it gets rapidly mixed out. Pretty much the same situation on the GFS going into the end of the week, but the problem is you've got all this strong heating inland, and as a result we tend to get a westerly component to the low-level flow, which means any moisture that makes it up into the Palm Springs area does get mixed out and carried to the northeast. So it is kind of hard getting deep moisture into the mountainous areas there in that part of California, although it does happen from time to time. So pretty quiet. It does look like our monsoon is focused on western New Mexico and western Colorado there. Should see storms and showers later on in the afternoon, but otherwise pretty quiet. In the northwestern U.S., looks like we have some upper air support in the Wyoming-Montana area. Have some remnants of elevated convection in the Rapid City and Sturgis area. And further west, looks like another little disturbance out in the Lewiston area. Not much going on there. And likewise, quiet on the surface chart. A weak front up there around Cardston, Alberta, out to southern British Columbia, and that puts Montana under kind of a weak downslope flow. That little area of cooler temperatures we saw in Wyoming yesterday, that appears to be a shallow outflow pool, which is pushed through the Cheyenne area. Dropping temperatures down to 77, contrasting with this 87 over 40 in Denver. Our front has apparently pushed off the Atlantic coast, but still continued warm in some areas. Looks like 90 there at Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Even though the front has pushed offshore, this looks like a reinforcing shot of cold air coming in into upstate New York there and across Michigan. You can see the extensive cold air advection cumulus across Ontario and Quebec. And based on this, since I don't see a whole lot of cyclonic turning of the winds through that corridor, I think that's sort of an upper level front. So possibly you could draw something like that. Yeah, that pretty much matches up with the cloud line, and that would indicate that in this area here, cooler mid-level temperatures giving you a unstable profile in the lower half of the atmosphere. And there's how things look in the southeastern U.S. The Gulf is definitely open. southerly winds all along the Gulf Coast there, and in Oklahoma, outflow. Not a very strong area of showers and thunderstorms, but it is there, and it looks like that's progressing into southwestern Missouri and western Arkansas. Back in the Texas Panhandle, this is not a dry line, that's a trough, and that's due to the very strong heating. You can see the 92-degree reading there at Childress, 88-91 between Hobbs and Midland. And with that very strong heating, that tends to lower the pressure somewhat, and as a result, we get that trough there. There could be enough of a response in the surface field to cause some convergence of the low-level winds, and as a result, we may get some showers and thunderstorms in a pattern like this. Just not a whole lot to look at in the southeastern U.S., a lot of cumulus towers going up pretty much everywhere, so we should see some widespread air mass type storms once again. There's the remnants of that convection there in Oklahoma moving into Arkansas and southwestern Missouri. That'll probably keep things a little bit suppressed, but we may see some showers go up around the periphery of that wherever there's strong surface heating. And it looks like the sea breeze is working its way inland across Houston. Some showers at this hour right now. This is pretty common in the summer. Lunchtime storms in Houston and Beaumont, and that'll probably progress north towards Crockett and College Station before dying off near sunset. And what about the tropics? Well, not much going on, and even that old tropical storm that we had out to the south looks like that's gone. And now we have potential tropical cyclone number 9. Well, that could be interesting towards the weekend. They're forecasting that to remain a tropical storm as it moves up into Florida. A lot of the ensemble members of the GFS have taken the track a little bit east, and this is the mean of the ensembles, and that's pretty much focused on the east coast there. This is from the 12Z run this morning. The deterministic solution has taken it more towards the west. The UK Met models, however, go for the West Coast solution. And you can see the various consensus tracks pretty much go for the West Coast. And then we just add the official forecast on, and yeah, you can see that we're probably looking at the Fort Myers area, maybe the Northern Keys. But as I said, we're still a little ways off. We can take a look at this tomorrow and on Friday. As we get into August, which is just a couple days away, we're going to be getting into hurricane season, and that's going to be a bit of a concern. So we're going to try to pay close attention to the tropics, and we can use some of that polar orbiter imagery. Yeah, see, there's that disturbed area west of the Windward Islands, and probably a couple more waves. We'll keep an eye on this. These are still a week or two away, but those could make it into the Gulf or the Caribbean. And I know there's some concern about it being an active hurricane season this year, but we shall see. Okay, that's about it for this edition of Forecast Lab. I appreciate you all watching. We will see you all tomorrow for the Thursday edition. Take care and have a good evening.